Deportations. I thought this was a fascinating opinion piece in the New York Post that highlights the success of self-deportation. Now, we've all seen the raids on illegal immigrants in specifically sanctuary states, places that say, well, we're not going to coordinate with ICE and therefore ICE has to go raid places where people are because, yeah, you don't want criminal illegals in your city. And then all of a sudden, LA burns down, which, who could have seen that coming in the lawless hellhole that is Los Angeles? But aside from all of that, a lot of the things that have been made fun of about the Trump administration is this idea of self-deportation. Who is going to self-deport? Well, according to some of the numbers, a lot of people. Now, keep in mind, it costs money to deport criminal illegals in this country, about $17,000 per person that ICE has to round up and deport. Now, the Trump administration is offering a $1,000 stipend for anybody who decides to self-deport. And again, you might be thinking, well, who's going to want to do that? Well, if you came into this country because, well, there was a lack of opportunity in whatever country you came from, well, then you'd probably leave this country if that opportunity withered away. The Washington Post, of all places, claims that 1 million foreign-born workers have exited, 1 million foreign workers have not been executed, have exited the workforce since March. And they're saying that, well, now that companies don't have these illegal immigrants to do the jobs, wages have gone up, which, holy cow, two good things at once. In other words, the idea that people won't self-deport hinges on the idea, well, of course, they would stay here because we have everything. Well, except if you can't physically work, if you can't actually tangibly get a job here in this country, which the Trump administration has made it difficult to do, which is a good thing, they'll just leave. About 1 million have so far. I think that's fantastic. Let's bring in our panel to discuss this and so much more. Morgan McMichael is a TPUSA contributor. Savannah Blaze is a commentator / political commentator, content creator and commentator. Mess those up. Guys, thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Shobab.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Morgan, I want to start with you here. I feel like a bunch of the libs, and continuing to do so, just laughing, oh, self-deporting. Who would self-deport? But yeah, if the jobs dry up and there's no reason or incentive for you to stay in this country, you actually might leave, especially if you're getting $1,000 from the government.
I definitely don't think the left saw this coming. And if there's one federal program that I would support, it would be let's pay them even more money to leave to incentivize the self-deportation even more. I mean, millions of our tax dollars have been funding illegal immigration, giving them plane tickets across our country, giving them cell phones, healthcare, food, and even housing in luxury hotels. So why not throw $5,000 at them and say, here's a plane ticket back to your country of origin, to the city that you want to go to, and we'll give you a couple grand just to get on your feet in your home country. That is something that I would support my tax dollars going to. I do think it's very funny how the left is spinning this, and they're like, there's no way there's self-deportations happening. I'd like to see more of it.
Oh, totally. And two, it saves the taxpayer dollars. Like, yeah, if you give them, a little bit of money to get out of here, that's still cheaper than the $17,000 per deported individual that has to be arrested. Savannah, this is not the first time this sort of thing has happened. The Post piece points out that in 1954, Dwight Eisenhower launched his deportation roundup, and the amount of people that self-deported was like 15 to 1. In other words, for every one person that had to be arrested, 15 people were like, I'm out. I don't have to deal with this. So in other words, it shouldn't really be too much of a surprise that this is working as well as it is.
It really isn't a surprise. It's not a huge surprise. It's working, and that's amazing. And I think a lot of people aren't talking about it enough. Trump used the app that Biden used when people came in illegally to seek asylum, and he's turned it into a self-deportation app. With just a click, you can self-deport, which is amazing. It's a really smart move. And you know what? It's tough, but it's fair. And like Morgan said, I'd rather my tax dollars go towards giving someone the ability to self-deport, than having ICE come in and spending $17,000 on deporting someone. And a lot of people are saying, well, it's so inhumane. There's nothing more inhumane than putting people in cages, which is what Obama did. I think this is the most humane thing that we can do.
Not
Yeah,
to mention
Obama.
that Obama deported more people than Trump has, yet the left likes to claim that President Trump is the bad guy for deporting illegal criminals, not just illegals who walked across the border and are working, but legitimate criminals in our country.
One of the biggest things that I'd gotten heat on Threads, which by the way, Threads is just a wasteland of craziness, was I just want President Trump to get to Obama numbers. That's what I want to see happen first. He's actually got quite a bit of a ways to go because Obama, king of the
Exactly.
deportations,